What we're seeing unfold in Afghanistan now is as horrific as it is inevitable. When the US and therefore coalition withdrawal from Afghanistan was announced earlier this year by President Joe Biden, it was very clear, as we noted on this program, that all of the gains in that country made over a deadly and difficult period of 2 decades would likely be lost. By overthrowing the Taliban, installing some form of order, some attempt at democracy, but importantly a situation there where there was some rule of law and some liberty, girls going to school, women even entering their parliament, the world had helped the people of Afghanistan reclaim some promise for the future. All that was highly likely to disappear with US and international troops pulling out. The only surprising aspect is how quickly it's happened. The Taliban has swept back into control of the entire country, slaughtering their opponents or anyone in their way, sweeping even into the capital, Kabul, yesterday, taking over the presidential palace as the President Ghani has fled the country. There is fear, chaos and bloodshed on the streets of Kabul, at the airport as well, as people look for safety or for a way out. And of course, we can never show you the real horrors of these situations. There is footage around where people are going about their business, trying to get to safety in Kabul and other Afghanistan cities, with dead bodies littering the streets around them, having to go around them. The horror is unbelievable. It's 15 years or so since I was in Kabul. It was an amazing, shambolic city. Back then it's surrounded by rugged mountain ranges, and even then, of course, it was highly dangerous, with Taliban and other terrorists looking to undermine order and attack any Westerners or those cooperating with them. But there was hope. Many Afghans spoke then about the prospect of freedom, education and order in their country. It's all going now. It's all finished in a matter of days. The war in Afghanistan, as you know, started 20 years ago next month in the wake of the 9/11 attacks, an attempt initially to find and kill Osama bin Laden, who'd carried out his evil plan from an Afghani base. He proved elusive and the mission morphed into nation building, helping to reclaim the country from the Taliban and other terrorists and various warlords. Bin Laden was eventually tracked down and killed in Pakistan, of course, and US, NATO and Australian forces helped establish some sort of stability in this historically tribal and dangerous country. 41 Australian soldiers lost their lives over the 2 decades. Hundreds more were injured. Many more suffered horrible consequences back in Australia, even taking their own lives after serving in Afghanistan. So this country did an enormous amount to help get rid of this terrorist haven and then support the Afghan people. And now, as dysfunction descends again and unspeakable bloodshed unfolds, we have to consider that whatever we did, whatever blood and treasure we sacrificed, not to mention the sacrifices of so many other countries, and especially the US, it was all for nothing. In recent weeks, President Joe Biden has been saying this would not happen.
The Taliban is not the North Vietnamese army. They're not remotely comparable in terms of capability. There's going to be no circumstance where you see people being lifted off the roof of an embassy of the United States from Afghanistan. It is not at all comparable.
Now, the foreign policy weakness of Joe Biden, something we've talked about again on this program since long before he was elected. That weakness is there for all to see now. The consequences of weakness are terrible. Indeed, it was the evil Osama bin Laden himself who pointed out that weakness was provocative. In Gaza and the broader Middle East, in Iran, and now most tragically in Afghanistan, we are seeing the consequences of the US seeking to placate the multilateral world, the world of weak diplomacy, rather than emphasising US strength and values. We've seen it in China's belligerence too, and in the trauma on America's southern border. The US under Biden is being pushed around and tested on multiple fronts, and people are suffering as a result. What will President Biden do next on Afghanistan? For now, he's sending troops into Kabul to help people evacuate. The US is on the run. Its enemies are emboldened. That's just terrible for the people of Afghanistan and will be for decades to come. But it's most certainly not good for us either.